All right, we're beginning our last session of Rooted Growth Group Leadership Training. And for this session, we're going to talk about leading with the end in mind. You know, there's a famous leadership book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen Covey. And this book covers topics about how to help people be more intentional and purposeful and ultimately effective in their lives, whether it's at home, at work, or really any scenario in life. The second habit he talks about was to begin with the end in mind. And the principle of this chapter is to be effective, then one needs to act based on principles that have already been established. In other words, you create things twice. You create them first in your mind and then in reality with your actions. And if we're not purposeful and forward thinking, then we just react to what's urgent around us, or we lead out of what is natural or comfortable to us, but we never quite go to the uncomfortable or unnatural things. And if we just lead where we're comfortable, then we get what we've already gotten, and that's it. But I don't know about you. I have to believe that there are future leaders that are sitting in my group that are ready that want to be empowered, that are ready to be poured into so that they can be used by God as well as a leader. And there are people and friends and co-workers that are waiting to be reached for Jesus. And there's so much potential around us, even if we don't see it on the surface just yet. And the reason we want to lead with the end in mind is because that's exactly what Jesus did. Jesus led with the end in mind. Jesus knew he was going to leave, and so he led with a purpose to make an impact. And that impact would not just be what he could do, but it was focused on what he could pour into other people. So the first thing I want to look at is that Jesus was more concerned with leaders than he was with crowds. As you read through the Gospels, you see that Jesus was focused on calling, discipling, challenging, empowering, and eventually sending out leaders. Everything that Jesus did was to eventually send out disciples. He never discipled to just give someone a better life. He discipled with an intent and a purpose to send them out so that they could be used by God. That was everything that Jesus did. He pulled them aside after miracles or teachings to help them in leadership. He didn't just do the miracles. He didn't just teach the teaching. He would pull them aside to help them understand what he was doing, why he did it, how that happened, so that they could be ready to carry it on after he left. He would send them out 2 by 2 to prepare them to stand on their own. He corrected them when their hearts were misguided. He did everything that he could to pour into those 11 or 12 guys so that they could be sold out for God, sold out for the mission of God, and that they could spread the message of Jesus across the entire world. He led by treating the raggedy, young, unschooled disciples as future leaders. And when the diversions came, even good diversions, Jesus gave them no thought. When people wanted to stone him, he kept moving, which is just crazy to me. If people wanted to kill you, I mean, he keeps it moving. No worries in his life. He's just going to keep going. There were times when people wanted to make him king and celebrate him and put him on this pedestal, but he kept it moving. When the crowds followed him, in fact, sometimes he sent the crowds away. He didn't care about the crowds or how big something got because he wanted the depth of the leaders that he was raising up. Jesus knew his goal, oddly enough, was less focused on what he could do and was more focused on getting the disciples ready, which is crazy to think that God in person was less focused on just what he could accomplish and do himself, but he was more focused on what he could help to empower these men to do. And I know everything is for him, everything's about him, everything is through him. All of that is true, but Jesus led to pull something out of these men and out of these disciples so that they could in turn make disciples who make disciples. He knew that if he wanted something that could really last, it had to be focused on raising up others. That if it was just about him and what he could do, then it would be great, of course. You know, people would be healed, people would be forgiven, and people would be blessed. But eventually, the momentum of that would have died down if it was just based on him. It would have died down after he was gone. So Jesus poured himself into these men. He pulled out their calling. He helped them be uncomfortable at times, and he would lead them. He would correct them. He would guide them. He strengthened them. He encouraged them, and he would pull all of those things out so that we're still talking about him today. And can I tell you, the value of your group, the value of what you're able to accomplish is not really based on the size of your group or even your own ability to lead. The value of your group is so much more about the leaders that you're raising up, the people that you're pouring into, and the ability to multiply what God has already done in your life. Jesus was also more focused on their faith than just how to teach. Throughout his ministry, Jesus did not teach them how to teach. You don't see him teaching them necessarily even how to lead. He was more concerned with, where is your faith? What are you believing in? Where is your hope being found in? Jesus says repetitively to the disciples, where is your faith? Just have faith, O ye of little faith. And he tells them to not be troubled, but that he's there with us, to have faith in him, to believe in him. It's like it's on repeat, to obey me, follow me, trust me, obey me, follow me, trust me. You see, Jesus was more interested in developing the person and their faith than the techniques that they could do to help lead or disciple other people. Techniques and skills are good. And I think it's important to learn some of those things, of course, along the way. But for something to last, it needs to have the character and the faith to help carry it. Skills and techniques only get us so far, but something has to be on the inside of us that's changed and transformed, that's able to carry, that has full of faith, because things come that shake our faith, and we need to have a faith that is unshakable and unmoving that we can hold on to. And when you're raising up someone under you to be a leader, that we want to help them connect to God as well, not just learn the practical steps of how to facilitate a group discussion or how to reach out to people. All of those are great, and we need those. At the same time, it's much more important. Where is your faith? How is your relationship with God? Where are you going? What is he saying to you? Are you obeying him? Are you having trouble believing him for that victory? And so what are we saying? The most effective leaders are going to be the ones who are focused on the end result and lead with that in mind. So what does that look like? Our end goal is to successfully multiply groups. It's not just about numbers. But the ideal scenario is to take someone who is unchurched, unsaved, unconnected in some way, that we take them, that we reach them, that we bring them into our group, that we care for them, that we disciple them in a relationship with God, and that we raise them up to become a leader and eventually launch them out with some others so that they can impact other people. And all of our leadership should have this filter of raising up others successfully. I remember when I was going off to college, and my parents made it a very big deal to try to help us start successfully with our lives. And so everything that they did as we were being raised up, as we were being, we were growing up, was to help us. They had 3 boys, so they were helping all 3 of us boys learn how to be men who were going to be able to stand for the things of God, who were going to be able to be successful and be able to do life on our own 2 feet, but they wanted to give us a good head start, and so they tried to help us. They paid for our first car, and they paid for our college, which was a tremendous blessing to realize I started out my life debt free. And I appreciated that. I was very thankful for that. Especially grew more appreciative when I got to see other people that didn't have that blessing or that benefit in life. But that's something my parents wanted to do for me, and so I was able to start out life with an education, with the first car, and I didn't have to worry about all the payments that would come with those. And now I still have to now pay for my cars today, and I still have to pay for my things, and they're not still taking care of me today, but they gave me a good head start so that I could accomplish the things that I'm doing today. And I can buy the things I'm buying today, and I could have the things and have the house and have the family and all of those things. They gave me those resources so that I could start successfully. Now, of course, I could have made it without that, but it was much easier and much more, I had much more chance to succeed when they let me start that way. And I want us to think about leading our groups with that kind of a mindset. I want to help raise up people so that they can start successfully. that I know part of my legacy is not just my one group, but it's helping to actually start another group, to help that person that's in my group that's a future leader. I want them to be successful in their group. So I want to send them with people. I want to go ahead and connect them with people so that they have people to go with. I want to give them the resources they need. I want to give them every opportunity to succeed while they're just in my group before they ever are by themselves, that they learn lessons the hard way and an easy way, if that makes sense. That they can learn lessons within the group rather than by themselves. That they can see how things are done. That they can learn from when I make a mistake, that we talk about it. And when I've learned a thing to help people, or we walk through the battles and the challenges, and we learn to have faith in the midst of those things. I want them to be successful. And so I pour into them so that they can be ready to lead. And if we lead with the end in mind, then we do everything differently. We reach out differently. Well, I need to reach more people so they have people to go with. I care for people differently because I don't want to just be the only one that's connecting with people. I want to help connect with people through other people. And so I'm asking, hey, can you reach out to so-and-so? Hey, this person said this, they had this prayer request at our last growth group time. Could you follow up with them? And so instead of just me doing it myself and just kind of bottlenecking everything, I've now got a group of people that are reaching out. So I can connect them to people, and so that when they're ready to launch out, they already have organic and authentic relationships with other people. That means that if we do this, we lead with the end in mind, we disciple differently, right? Our discipleship is now focused on them being a future leader, not just having a more consistent or a better life, but I'm focused on you being a leader. And so I'm talking to you as a leader. I'm pouring into you as a leader, as a future leader. You're going to lead other people. That's what Jesus did. He talked to the disciples as future leaders. So when their faith was not doing well, it wasn't just talking to somebody that, just a normal person. It was a future leader. You're going to carry the ministry of God. So I'm talking to you differently. Let's go through this because you're a future leader. So we disciple differently. We're pouring into people, helping their own faith walk and their development. We raise up people differently if we lead with the end in mind. And we realize I'm not just losing some people from my group. And yeah, it's kind of sad and it changes the dynamics of your group, but I actually get to celebrate because I'm launching out another leader. I'm launching out and multiplying our impact. I've now helped raise up somebody so that they can go and bear much fruit, so that they can be somebody that can now be able to reach more people and disciple more people. And that's a leader that we've raised up. That's somebody else that we're sending out. And that is worthy to be celebrated. And so we get excited that our legacy is beyond just us and our group, but we get excited that it's somebody else that's able to pour into someone else as well. And so we have so much that even our own leadership that we focused on. That's why we've instituted our coaches the way we have, because we want to multiply our leadership there as well. We want to see more people. We want to double our group sizes, the number of groups that we have. But we don't want to just double them and not double the people there, because of course we need to double that. So even if we went from like 30 to 60 groups, then even if we continue to average 7 attendees, you would go from somewhere around 210 people a week on average to 420 people weekly in our groups. And those aren't just numbers to me. Those numbers, of course, they're exciting. But it's also, that means that's families being discipled. That's 60 leaders that are in place, that are equipped, that are ready to pour into other people. That's answering the call to being shepherds of other people. That's, maybe 100 plus people that I've been trained to effectively disciple other people. It's exciting to me because you can see the work of God going forward. But we have to be intentional to lead with the end in mind. Lead with the idea this is much more than just me. I want to pour into somebody else so they can be effective too. So as we close out this training, I want you to take this with you. Friends, I want you, as you lead with the end in mind. The end that I'm raising up another leader so that they can be launched out and they can have a group themselves, so that they can have a mission field that they're pouring into. And if I truly believe that, then we lead differently across the board. We reach out differently. We connect with people differently. We disciple and equip people differently. And then when it's time, we release them so that we can multiply our efforts and reach and disciple more people. Well, congratulations. You have officially completed Rooted Growth Group Leadership Training. From here, I want to encourage you to get reconnected with your coach, talk about a potential launch plan, even if it's down the road and doesn't have to be just right now or immediate, but talk about what that can look like. Talk about the development that you can have as a leader, as a person. Talk about what it looks like for your group. So talk with your coach through all of that so that you can be ready for the next step in your leadership journey. God bless you. Thank you for taking this training. And again, we're praying for you as you go on this journey, as we go and make disciples who make disciples. God bless you.